Welcome to the Senior Techie Podcast.
Glad to be here.
Imagine discovering that the secret to preventing, a really devastating fall, well, it doesn't actually require lifting heavy weights or running miles.
Right, or even breaking a sweat, honestly.
Exactly. It turns out that preserving your everyday independence might just rely on 2 cans of tomato soup and, maybe about 22 minutes of your day.
Which is pretty amazing when you think about it.
We talk a lot about taking control of your life on this show, and if you are listening to this right now, you probably already know you should be moving more.
Oh, absolutely.
You feel it when you wake up in the morning, your body kind of tells you.
It definitely lets you know.
It really does.
Yeah.
But the hurdle isn't a lack of information. The real hurdle is finding a practical, honest starting point that doesn't feel like a chore. Or worse, like a medical lecture in a doctor's office.
Yeah, nobody wants another lecture.
You don't need another lecture. You just need a practical way to begin. So today is really about giving you that starting point, using the incredible momentum of National Senior Health and Fitness Day.
Which is such a phenomenal catalyst for action, It's actually been running since 1993.
Wow, that long.
Yeah, it's been quietly growing into the nation's largest annual wellness event that's tailored exclusively for older adults. The sheer scale of it is just staggering.
What kind of scale are we talking about here?
We are talking about roughly 100,000 seniors participating at more than 1,000 different local venues across the country. And this is all part of Older Americans Month.
I love that. And what makes this so approachable is just the entire vibe of the day. It is intentionally non-competitive.
Totally.
Like there are no stopwatches, there are no finish lines. I actually like to think of it like being invited to a neighborhood block party.
Oh, that's a perfect way to put it.
Right, because you don't show up to a block party to win a race or prove you are the most athletic person on your street. You simply show up to be present, move around a bit, and connect with your community.
Exactly. It is entirely about participation, not performance.
Yeah.
And that non-competitive atmosphere strips away the single biggest barrier to physical activity, which is intimidation.
Intimidation is huge.
It is. When people hear the word fitness, their brains immediately conjure up images of loud, crowded rooms filled with complicated machinery and people lifting enormous weights.
Yeah, the classic gym scene.
Right. But this movement is the absolute antithesis of that environment. It really just meets you where you are.
Well, let's actually look at the math of movement, because when you break down the numbers, it completely changes the narrative.
It really does.
The general medical recommendation for adults 65 and older is to aim for 150 minutes of moderate activity per week, plus, some strength and balance work maybe twice a week.
Which sounds like a lot.
Hearing 150 minutes sounds like taking on a part-time job. It sounds super overwhelming.
It does, yeah, until you actually divide it by 7 days. When you do that math, it equates to just about 22 minutes a day.
22 minutes.
That's it. We were talking about less than half an hour out of an entire 24-hour cycle.
That's completely manageable.
And when we look at the physiology behind those 22 minutes, the goal is absolutely not achieving some sort of magazine-covered gym body. The biological focus is entirely on maintaining everyday independence.
Independence really is the key word there. We tend to think of fitness as cardiovascular endurance, like running a marathon or having large visible muscle.
Right, the flashy stuff.
Yeah, but for older adults, the most critical factors are the quiet ones. Things like balance, strength, and flexibility. Those are the underlying mechanics that basically govern your everyday freedoms.
And everyday freedoms, those are the mundane things we just take for granted until they become difficult.
Like what, for example?
Like the ability to carry your own groceries from the car into the kitchen, or the ability to safely get up off the living room floor after playing with a grandchild.
Oh, yeah.
Or simply just the ability to walk across a room without needing to, trail your hand along the edge of the sofa or the dining room chairs for support.
But wait, I want to push back on this for a second, thinking about you listening at home right now.
Yeah.
22 minutes sounds incredibly doable on paper.
Sure.
But for someone who hasn't been active in a decade, or maybe who deals with chronic joint pain, even 5 minutes of just walking down the driveway can feel completely exhausting.
It absolutely can.
So does it really count as exercise if you aren't sweating profusely or completely out of breath?
It emphatically counts, yes. The commercial fitness industry has sold us this pervasive myth that exercise only works if it hurts or leaves you completely exhausted.
No pain, no gain.
Exactly, which is terrible advice here. For preserving mobility and independence, consistency easily trumps intensity. Every single time.
So it's a little bit every day.
Right. When you engage in just 5 gentle minutes of movement, you are triggering immediate physiological changes. You are increasing blood flow, which lubricates the synovial fluid in your joints, making them feel less stiff.
Oh, wow. So it actually helps the joints right away.
Yes. You are waking up the neuromuscular pathways that tell your muscles how to fire. So if you only have the capacity for 5 minutes, you just do those 5 minutes.
And that's enough.
To start, yes. Your body will slowly adapt, building the microscopic cellular infrastructure that eventually allows you to do 6 minutes and then 10.
Consistency over intensity. I love that. And when we look at what is actually happening at these local events for National Senior Health and Fitness Day, they lean heavily into that idea of gentle, consistent movement.
They really do.
And they are hosted at places you likely already know. Local YMCAs, senior centers, community parks.
Yeah, you walk into one of these community centers and you find group fitness classes tailored specifically for older bodies.
What kind of classes?
You see things like chair yoga, which is just phenomenal for maintaining spinal flexibility without requiring you to get down on a mat on the floor.
Which is a huge relief for a lot of people.
Exactly. You also see low-impact aerobics or groups organizing gentle nature hikes on fully paved, accessible trails.
What I find brilliant about these local events is that they strip away the intimidating gym equipment entirely. And it isn't even just about physical exertion, is it?
Not at all.
I mean, you will often find free health screenings for vital metrics like blood pressure, cholesterol, blood sugar. They run nutrition workshops, cooking demos.
Yeah, it's a very holistic approach.
They even focus on mental wellness, incorporating ancient practices like Tai Chi and Qigong.
Oh, those practices are masterclasses in preventative health.
Yeah.
Tai Chi, for example, it links gentle, flowing physical movement with deep, rhythmic breathing.
So it's good for stress, too.
Very much so. Physiologically, this combination lowers cortisol, which is your body's primary stress hormone, while simultaneously forcing your brain to focus on spatial awareness.
It's basically a moving meditation.
That's exactly what it is. A moving meditation that actively trains your nervous system to balance your body.
And these events are happening everywhere. I actually read a fascinating example recently taking place in Asheville.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it really showed that whether you are in a vibrant mountain town like Asheville or just a quiet suburban neighborhood, there is likely a local venue participating near you.
For sure.
But to find them, you are encouraged to use a bit of basic technology. You need to look up the websites fitnessday.com and nia.ni.gov, which is the National Institute on Aging. But let's pause here for a second.
Okay.
Whenever we mention something like a URL or a website address, I always like to picture the classic Yellow Pages phone book.
Oh, I think that is a very apt mental model for how the internet actually functions.
Right, because you never sit down and read the Yellow Pages cover to cover.
Mm-hmm.
If you need a plumber, you flip directly to the P section. Or think of the Dewey Decimal System at the library. It guides you to the exact shelf you need. The internet is not some magical, confusing cloud. It is simply our modern, massive digital phone book.
Just a tool to find things.
Exactly. Typing a website address like fitnessday.com into your browser is exactly like flipping directly to the specific page that lists all the fun, safe activities happening right in your own neighborhood.
It is a direct routing system. You bypass all the irrelevant information and go straight to the resources built for you.
And navigating these digital tools to enhance your real physical life is exactly what the senior techie community is all about.
I completely agree.
It is never about learning technology just to stare at a glowing screen. It's about using those digital tools to connect with the physical world around you, basically empowering you to show up confidently.
But you know, if using that digital phone book feels like a step you aren't ready to take today, there is a perfect analog backup.
All deaf.
You do not need the internet to participate. Simply pick up your telephone, call your local senior center sometime this week, and just ask them what they have planned for the annual event.
They'd be thrilled to tell you.
Right. The organizers are literally waiting by the phone to share that information with you.
Well, let's consider a different scenario. Say you have a scheduling conflict, or perhaps you don't drive, and getting to a physical location just isn't possible for you.
That happens a lot.
It does. But the last thing we want is for a logistical hiccup to become an excuse to abandon the day entirely. The beautiful thing about these movements is their adaptability.
Everything we are discussing can be modified for your own living room. The home plan aims for 30 minutes of activity. But again, you don't need to tackle it all at once.
Break it up.
Exactly. Take a 15-minute walk around your house or down the street in the morning. Then take another 15-minute walk in the afternoon. That is the entire comprehensive plan.
And if the weather is terrible or walking simply isn't an option, you could actually capitalize on your television time.
Oh, TV time fitness is great.
It's the best. During a commercial break, try standing up from your favorite chair and sitting back down 10 times. Or while you are standing in the kitchen waiting for the coffee to brew, do a few calf raises. Just lift up onto your tiptoes and slowly lower yourself back down.
You are engaging the muscles in your lower body without needing any specialized equipment at all.
My absolute favorite tactic is grabbing 2 light cans of soup from the pantry and doing overhead arm presses right there in the kitchen.
Soup cans are perfect for that.
They really are. And to help you build this habit, your next technological action step is to use the alarm app on your smartphone. Set it for 10 a.m. tomorrow to remind yourself to walk or do your soup can presses.
That's a great tip.
And let's demystify this tool as well. Compare your smartphone alarm app to that classic twist dial egg timer you probably keep on your kitchen counter.
The mechanism of action is identical.
Right. You know exactly how the egg timer works. You twist it to 20 minutes, and when the time is up, it rings. The alarm app on your phone does the exact same thing.
It really does.
You are just telling it what time of day to wake up, and it makes a noise. The only difference is that this egg timer lives in your pocket or sits on your nightstand, and it just gives you a gentle, helpful nudge.
Outsourcing your memory to that digital egg timer frees up your mental energy, too. You don't have to constantly watch the clock or worry about forgetting. You let the technology handle the remembering so you can focus entirely on the movement.
It makes so much sense. I do have to ask you, though, playing devil's advocate for a minute, lifting a single can of soup in the kitchen or just standing up and sitting down during a television commercial, it feels almost too minor.
I hear that a lot.
Right. Can an action that small actually prevent a serious fall down the road?
I know it sounds completely counterintuitive, but yes, it fundamentally changes your risk profile.
Really? Just the soup cans and sitting down?
Yes. Because when people think of fall prevention, they assume they need massive, powerful leg muscles like a weightlifter. In reality, preventing a fall relies heavily on the micromuscles around your ankles, your knees, and your core. Oh, the little stabilizing muscles.
Precisely. When you do a calf raise, or when you control your body weight as you sit down slowly into a chair, rather than just dropping into it, you are waking up those tiny stabilizing muscles.
So you are essentially training your nervous system's reaction time.
Yes. It is a concept called proprioception, which is basically your body's ability to sense its location, movements, and actions in three-dimensional space.
Proprioception.
Right. Small, consistent movements enhance the communication between your brain and your muscles. You're literally training your nervous system to automatically catch your balance if you happen to stumble on a rug or trip over a curb.
Wow. Which brings us to the most critical part of this entire discussion, I think, which is the psychology of actually starting.
The hardest part.
It is, because having the soup cans, knowing how to use the website directories, and setting your digital egg timers, that is all fantastic preparation. But getting past the mental inertia of I haven't exercised in years is the hardest hurdle to clear. The behavioral psychology behind starting a new habit is just fascinating. We tend to wait for this lightning bolt of motivation to strike before we act.
They really do.
We convince ourselves that we need to feel energetic and enthusiastic before we start moving.
Well, I read a really powerful story recently about a gentleman who spent decades sitting at a desk writing computer code. I mean, he was the absolute definition of a sedentary lifestyle.
Decades at a desk is tough.
Yeah, but when he finally started moving, he noted that there was no sudden magical burst of inspiration. There was no grand epiphany. It was simply the quiet decision to make, quote, this week different from last week.
Oh, that perfectly illustrates the core principle of behavior change. Action usually precedes motivation.
Wait, action precedes motivation?
Yes, you make the decision first, you take the smallest possible step, and the motivation eventually follows. National Senior Health and Fitness Day provides a built-in, low-pressure excuse to make that initial decision.
That's a great way to look at it. For anyone making that decision today, the golden rule is to go incredibly slow and never, ever apologize for it.
Never.
You start exactly where you are. That beginner exercise library we mentioned at nia.9.gov is an incredible resource because it is built specifically for older adults.
It's fantastic.
You aren't watching 20-something fitness influencers doing intense jumps. You are watching safe, realistic, manageable movements.
And prioritizing balance drills is really the smartest place to begin. The payoff is highly practical and almost immediate.
Like the proprioception we talked about.
Exactly. You don't have to wait 6 months to see a result. Just try standing on one foot while lightly holding the kitchen counter for support. Or try walking heel to toe across your living room floor, sort of as if you were walking on a tightrope.
And doing those simple drills daily for just 2 weeks yields a highly noticeable difference in how steady you feel on your feet.
It really does.
And if you want a bit more guidance, trying out your one-chair yoga class will teach you more about your body's tight spots than reading a dozen articles about flexibility.
Because experiencing the physical feedback in real time is crucial for understanding what your body needs.
Think of starting these small balance drills like running a basic software update on your phone or your computer.
Oh, I like that analogy.
Well, when your device is running a little sluggish, you don't throw the whole thing in the trash and buy a completely new system. You just install a small, simple patch, a software update that clears out the bugs and helps everything run a little smoother and a little safer.
That's brilliant.
These micro movements are basically the physical equivalent of installing a software update for your body.
You are simply optimizing the hardware you already have by updating the neuromuscular software that runs it. It is a really empowering way to view the aging body. It's not in decline, but constantly capable of being updated and improved.
We have covered a tremendous amount of ground today. We redefined fitness to focus entirely on your everyday independence. We use the internet as our digital yellow pages to find safe, local, non-competitive events in our neighborhoods. We talked about transforming your living room with simple tools like soup cans and using your smartphone alarm as a gentle egg timer to keep you on track.
And most importantly, I think, we explored giving yourself the permission to start slowly, without any pressure or judgment, prioritizing consistency over intensity.
As we wrap up, I want to leave you with a different perspective to ponder. Now that you are building the physical strength and the digital confidence to show up for your everyday life, I want you to think about this. What other small, healthy habit could you use your phone alarm to help you start today?
It's amazing what a little nudge can do.
It really is. You have the tools and you have the capability. You just have to make this week different from last week.
The ripple effect of that kind of small change is truly profound.
This podcast was brought to you by The Senior Techie. It's available on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and Spotify. If you'd like to receive their free newsletters, you can subscribe at subscribe.theseniortechie.com.